The rains have stopped, but the waters remain. We're headed into the mountains by foot and by boat before a well-earned soak. We're going for a lake ride, another mountain, before we hit up the hot springs. Let's go. But first, we're here and we're having breakfast, the traditional Hakka breakfast. Which always starts with the noodles, and our first topping is fish heads. Roly-poly fish heads, fish heads, fish heads. Eat them up, yummy. If you didn't already know, the biggest and fattest bones in a fish are all in its head. It's about as far from cereal and milk as it gets. Tummies full, we're off to Hanxian, where legends of China's 8 immortals are woven into its landforms. Ganzhou's mountainous terrains are riddled with these defiles, and the most prominent of which have been hollowed out and used over the centuries. There are these little microbiomes within these defiles, and it's just this really tranquil spot sheltered from the winds, moss-covered, green, and perfect place to put a monastery or yoga retreat. These mountains are said to be the favorite of my favorite of the 8 immortals, Zhongli Quan, who comes off a bit like Bacchus over the centuries, and is said to have a very pleasing demeanor. He also has a zombie-raising fan, which transmutes stones into silver and gold. About halfway up the hill, tourists will run into Mr. Zhou, who's been working here for 20 years, free of charge. Mr. Zhou retired. He liked coming up here, but wasn't well developed, and he realized that a lot of tourists didn't have a whole lot to drink.
我是9个人，说到这么高的山，我爬了是这么高个，你喝点水就比较好哟。就买点茶叶嘛，买点茶叶，自己蒸了20口。
So he started serving tea with fresh mountain water. Unfortunately, that spring runs dry in the middle of the winter time. They do try to stock up, but the spring does work in the summertime. Mr. Zhou is the model of perfect health. Doesn't smoke, doesn't drink alcohol, and gets plenty of hiking done every day. And I suspect he'll probably be here for another 20 years. The climb down is quick as we dash next to Hanxian Lake for a river ride. Yeah, it looks like a river, but it's really a lake, and it's truly placid. If the driver is anything to go by, it's pretty relaxing.
Don't crash.
It's too cold in early March to take a dip into this mountain lake, which winds its way along the submerged valleys. But good news, everyone, they've got a hot spring. Just my color. We're here at Hanxian Hot Springs, which was just built last year. Before, it was a small village with a hot spring for 1,000 years. But they turned it into a resort. It boasts 88 pools, and even in the dead of winter, it's plenty popular. Now, I have to admit, this is my first time visiting a hot spring in China. And, I mean, it's very bucolic surroundings. It's actually pretty nice, you know, like you can just kind of sojourn from pool to pool at different temperatures, shapes, and properties. I can see how you could spend an entire week just soaking well and through the day and eating well at night, just hanging out. I like it. We're wrapping things up next week, so we're fuel injecting our final Ganzhou episode. See you then.